Could this be the beginning of the dissent by top military officials against Pete Hegseth and the Trump regime that you and I and we all have been waiting for? I know you've been asking, when are our top generals and admirals, when are they going to stand up to the Trump regime and say enough is enough? We're not following your unlawful orders. We're not going down this path of destroying the United States of America. Well, an act of dissent, coded as it may be by a source that may not be expected, just took place. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, through their official social media account, sent a coded message striking back at Pete Hegseth and the Trump regime after Hegseth precipitously fired the Chief of Staff of the Army, 4-star General Randy George. General Randy George was widely respected. I mean, he was the top guy, the top person in the Army. That's what the Chief of Staff position is, a 4-star general. And Pete Hegseth, in the middle of this catastrophic war against Iran, fired General Randy George. And this firing deserves more attention as well, because General Randy George was one of the best tacticians, one of the best students of the tactics that were being used in Ukraine in order to stop Russia's invasion. And he was trying to integrate that into the army. He played a pivotal role himself, previously being on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And just so you all know, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, by statute, it is the principal advisory body to the President, the Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. And since Pete Hegseth has been confirmed as the Secretary of Defense and runs around calling himself the Secretary of War, we've already seen the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr., was fired. We saw the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, was fired. We saw the Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General James Slife, fired. And now we've seen General Randy George. Hegseth and Trump have gutted the Joint Chiefs. Now, the Joint Chiefs have put out the following statement, and I said you have to understand military language and military code to see what's going on here, right? So Pete Hegseth, he fires General Randy George. A lot of the reporting is that General Randy George would not remove from a promotion list individuals who were well qualified to get promoted to high-level positions in the United States Army, where Hegseth and people close to Hegseth didn't want them to be part of the Army because they were either black or they were women. And Hegseth didn't want that. That's what a lot of the reporting says. We haven't really seen denials of that from Hegseth, but we know that that is something, in my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion, of course, unprotected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, that we've seen with Hegseth over and over again. In addition, Hegseth is deeply paranoid right now as this catastrophic war in Iran is spiraling out of control. Hegseth believes that this guy Driscoll, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, who's close to J.D. Vance and who was also close to General Randy George, is trying to get his job. And Hegseth apparently is just foaming at the mouth and, is just going down this crazy path. So here's the statement of the Joint Staff. Let me read it for you. Let's go through the coded language right here of the message they're sending. So Hegseth fires Randy George, forces him to retirement. The Joint Staff, which is the official account for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they put out the following message. On behalf of the Joint Force and the Joint Chiefs, we extend our deepest gratitude to Chief of Staff of the Army, General Randy George, for his decades of steadfast service to our nation. Since 1988, General George and his family have consistently answered the nation's call with honor and dedication. We are profoundly thankful to General George and his wife Patty for their many years of sacrifice and devotion to those who serve. As they graduate from this distinguished chapter of service and look forward to the future, we wish them both continued happiness and success in all that lies ahead. Now, Hegseth wanted this to be a humiliation ritual, a walk of shame, if you will. Wanted to completely and utterly humiliate General Randy George. And the Joint Staff had his back right away and talked about how thankful they are and what real service looks like. The coded language right here is that the clown, Pete Hegseth, who did this, does not exemplify those values right here. And we're hearing from a lot of former military leaders and others who are commenting on what just happened. Former retired General Barry McCaffrey writes, General George is a superb combat battlefield commander, integrity, courage, experience, takes care of soldiers, solid judgment, modest, and principled. D.C. Gomez writes, as someone who gave 28 years of my life to the government protecting the U.S., nothing pisses me off more than the way this administration treats career professional military and veterans. Nick Bryan writes, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is throwing some shade at Hegseth. Don't be fooled by the Raisin Cane call sign. Kane is not a MAGA hothead that he is often mistakenly portrayed to be. More on that in a second. Craig Beam writes, Secretary of Defense has lost any support from the chain of command. It will get worse before it gets better, and may God protect our service members in peril. May God protect our service members in peril. Whether you believe in God or whether you're religious or not, you can just say, may our service members be protected who have been placed in peril right now, because there's a catastrophic war taking place right now, and the head of the United States Army was just fired. And a lot of the reporting is because that there was an effort to inject more racism into the Army, and that general would not stand for it. Don't let the title fool you. When you're the Chief of Staff of the Army, that means you're the top position of the entire United States Army. The top Army officer, 4-star general, you don't get higher than this position. And to fire your top Army officer in the middle of this war is absolutely insane. I mean, it was absolutely insane also that the Trump regime fired via a social media post last year Chief of Staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, C.Q. Brown, and they replaced him with Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Raisin Cane. And because of Lieutenant General Dan Raisin Cane not having necessarily the appropriate qualifications, he basically had to get a waiver. Now, lots of people still say that Raisin Cane, as that comment pointed out, is not supportive of a lot of the things that are happening and is looking at Hegseth like he is a clown. But Raisin Cane is, still Donald Trump's pick right there. I want to share this with you because I think this doesn't get enough attention. Who is General Randy A. George, who was just fired? Let's talk about, I gave you his background right there when I read what the Joint Chiefs does. But I want to share this with you, and please watch through the end of this, because again, you're not getting this on any other network or anywhere else. I want to show you a speech from 2023 that General Randy George, who's now been fired, gives, because he gives a roadmap right here about the types of things that would be important in Donald Trump's war in Iran. Right? This is a catastrophic war. It's an unlawful war. It shouldn't be brought in the first place. And we can all discuss whether the orders should have been carried out to begin with regarding this unlawful war. My own view is that they shouldn't. If it's an unlawful war, unlawful order shouldn't be followed. I would like to say set that aside, but I know we can't set that aside. What I'm simply trying to state is we're in this war right now, right? And we would still want the most qualified people to be overseeing and protecting our soldiers, right? And the competent, qualified people. This guy, General Randy A. George, this 4-star general, the top guy in the army, he was that guy. And what we've seen is Hegseth and the Trump regime have gotten rid of 22 to 26 of the top military leaders, the biggest purge in history right now. And they've gotten rid of a ton of them in the past 48 hours and throughout the past 14 months. And these are the best tacticians, the best. So let me share with you this. I'm only going to show you about 5 minutes of it, but you're going to want to watch the whole thing. Please watch this whole thing because you'll be like, that's the guy. Like, you know what a clown Hegseth is. I'm not even going to show Hegseth clips because it'll annoy us. But I want to show you what a real competent leader in the military sounds like. This is General Randy A. George speaking in 2023 at the MeidasTouch Network. We dug up this footage here. Play this clip.
So I'm going to be very straightforward with you all today. We're doing a lot of things really well, and we've got some work to do. And my goal is for all of you to understand your part. First, I am proud of our Army. Recently, I visited several of our Army formations. In Germany, I saw 2nd Cavalry Regiment who are clearly focused on building their warfighting skills and innovating to stay ahead of the threat. Instead of a fixed tactical operations center, the 2nd Cav Regiment commander commands and controls his formations from 5 strikers that are physically dispersed yet digitally connected across the battlefield. That commander understands the challenges of large-scale combat operations and is adapting in real time to be more mobile, low signature, and lethal. And more recently, in Alaska, I met soldiers from the 11th Airborne Division. Their 2nd Brigade soldiers were out in the cold rain working hard to earn their expert infantry and soldier badges. I've been up to Alaska in the dead of winter, and I know this unit can train and fight in the most extreme environments. Wherever I go, I consistently see soldiers of every generation willing to innovate, train, and endure hardship for the team and the mission. For my part, when Americans see our Army, I want them to see what I see. I want them to feel the pride that I feel, because their Army is the best ground fighting force in the world. When our Army hits the dirt, our nation means business. Our allies and partners don't want to fight without us, and our adversaries are wise to fear us. Because when Americans see their Army, they see exceptional teams, tough, disciplined soldiers who are proudly serving their country. Because in the Army, they see leaders who demand excellence and hold each other accountable. They see soldiers who are fit and masters of their craft. And they see strong families behind those soldiers who are a valued part of our team. And finally, and particularly important given our interconnected world today, they see an Army that knows how to innovate, adapt, and thrive in new conditions. Hang on a second. This is critically important because the character of war is changing. It's changing rapidly because disruptive technology is fundamentally altering how humans interact. Just look at Ukraine. On the battlefield today, everything is a sensor. I recall when satellite technology brought news from the battlefield to Americans' living rooms. That in and of itself gave a new dynamic to warfighting. Today, every one of us has better cameras in our pockets that are connected to the cloud. No one can hide and no formation is safe. Where we can see, we can hit, and we can see everywhere. Along the same lines, electromagnetic signature management is vital. We all leak detectable digital exhaust. Emails, phone calls, even when sending a text. Now warfighters must find ways to blend in with the noise all around. Logistics are more complex because the logistics tales that we have grown accustomed to are conspicuous. They can be hit, sabotaged, and cyber attacked. And autonomous systems are changing the game for not that much money. I'm not just talking about unmanned aerial systems, but ground systems as well. But challenges are nothing new to the United States Army. In fact, they offer us opportunity to assess and get better. We just have to stay grounded. I've been reflecting on our Army's motto, "This will defend," which was first used as a battle cry by the Continental Army. Today it reminds us that our Army's purpose is timeless and clear: to fight and win the nation's wars. That is our mandate from the American people. And it requires action in 4 focus areas: warfighting, delivering ready combat formations, continuous transformation, and strengthening our profession. First, I'm going to focus on warfighting. Warfighting is the reason our Army exists. We are not a Europe Army or a Pacific Army. We're not a brigade-centric or division-centric. We are a global force that fights when called upon at the scale required. We have always done that.
Now that's the guy that a very paranoid Pete Hegseth has fired. Pete Hegseth, it's being reported by the New York Post and elsewhere. New York Post is getting their sources from within the White House. Okay. Hegseth is getting very paranoid about losing his job, which is one of the reasons why they say they fired Chief of Staff General Randy George. Trump administration officials say Hegseth is worried about Army Secretary Dan Driscoll taking his job. Driscoll's buddies with J.D. Vance. Hegseth on Thursday demanded the resignation of Army Chief of Staff General Randy George, Driscoll's top aide, for reasons that were not publicly stated. This is all driven by insecurity and paranoia that Pete has developed since Signalgate. It has really gotten under Hegseth's skin. He is trying to make everyone around Driscoll suffer for no reason. There seems to be growing tensions in that Department of Defense. I mean, he calls it the Department of War. I mean, because he's such an insecure little man baby. No offense to man babies, because he even gives man babies a bad name. Anyway, I wanted to give you that perspective right there. You tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.